I moved into the apartment 2 weeks ago. A clean break, fresh start. After the breakup, I needed somewhere quiet. Somewhere I could rebuild myself in peace. The rent was cheap, the landlord barely spoke, and most of the units were empty. Perfect. The first night was uneventful. I unpacked, set up my tiny desk in the corner of the bedroom, and fell asleep to the sound of rain tapping against the window. It felt peaceful, safe, until 3:33 a.m. The first knock wasn't loud, more like a polite tap. I remember glancing at the clock and thinking it was odd, but I didn't move. I drifted back to sleep. The second night it happened again. Same time, 3 soft knocks. That time I sat up. Luna was already staring at the closet, her ears flat, body tense. I whispered her name, but she didn't turn. Her eyes didn't move. I didn't open the closet. I didn't need to, because somehow I knew it was already open, just a little. I didn't tell anyone the next day. What would I even say? Hey, so a closet that shouldn't exist is whispering to me every night. And now I think it's watching? No, people would think I was losing it. Hell, maybe I was. I tried to carry on like everything was normal. Made coffee, checked emails, did a couple of freelance projects, but I couldn't focus. Every time I walked past the bedroom, I found myself glancing toward that panel. It looked perfectly innocent during the day, just painted wood, flat and smooth, but I knew what was behind it. Or worse, what wasn't. That night I stayed up, not on purpose. I just couldn't sleep. Every little sound in the apartment felt louder. The wind through the cracked kitchen window sounded like breathing. The pipes moaned like someone exhaling through their teeth. By 3 a.m., I had moved from my bed to the couch, curling into the corner with a blanket wrapped tight around me. Luna sat at the far end, tail twitching. Her eyes kept darting to the hallway that led to my bedroom. She wouldn't go near it. I watched the time crawl, 3:31 a.m. My heart was beating faster, as if my body already knew what was coming. 3:32. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to hear, but I listened. And then, like clockwork. But this time, it wasn't from the closet. This time, it was from the hallway wall, just outside the bedroom, as if whatever it was had moved. I sat bolt upright, adrenaline rushing through me. No, I whispered. No, 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 Luna hissed. Her fur stood on end. Then, silence. I stood slowly, feet bare on the cold hardwood floor, and walked toward the hallway. My hand reached for the light switch, but when I flicked it, nothing. The hallway remained dark. Something was wrong. I felt it, like a coldness crawling across my skin. I turned back toward the couch, heart pounding, and froze. The closet door was wide open. If this story touched you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special just for you. Another tale, another truth, and maybe a whisper you weren't meant to hear. I didn't sleep after that. I couldn't. I stood frozen at the edge of the hallway, staring into the black void behind the closet panel. It wasn't just open, it was wide open, like something had come through, or was waiting for me to step in. But I didn't. I backed away, never turning my back on it, until I was on the opposite side of the apartment. I stayed there until dawn, clutching Luna, who refused to make a sound. Her body was rigid, her eyes locked on that hallway. Neither of us moved until the sunlight bled through the curtains. When morning came, I tried to convince myself it was a dream. Maybe I had sleepwalked. Maybe I left it open without realizing. But deep down, I knew better. That afternoon, I did something I hadn't done since college. I dug out my old camera, my real one, not just my phone, and set it up on a tripod across the bedroom, pointed directly at the closet. I hit record at sunset. If something was happening at 3:33 a.m., I'd have proof. I left all the lights on that night. I thought maybe light would stop it. Maybe if I stayed awake again, it wouldn't happen. That some force only worked in the shadows. But at 3:33 a.m., even with every bulb in the apartment burning bright, it didn't care. I stayed on the couch again, clutching a kitchen knife I knew would be useless. I didn't dare go near the hallway. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. And again, the sound didn't come from the closet. It came from inside the bedroom, like it was already there. The knocking was slower now, intentional, heavy, as if it knew I was listening. By morning, I couldn't even bring myself to open the bedroom door. I waited until noon, until the sunlight was directly overhead, then finally stepped inside. Everything looked normal. Closet closed. No scratches, no marks, no sign that anything had been there. I reached for the camera. It had stopped recording. Timestamp 3:32:58 2nd a.m. Less than 5 seconds before the knocks. I rewound the footage, staring at the tiny screen. For the most part, it was boring. Static room. Closet in frame. Time ticking forward. But at exactly 3:33 a.m., the video glitched. There was a flicker of static, a jump in the audio, and then, for one single frame, I saw something. A figure, no face, just black, standing half out of the closet, looking directly into the lens. I screamed and dropped the camera. When I picked it back up, the footage had been corrupted. That night, I didn't sleep. And for the first time, I left the apartment. But the knocking followed me. I stayed at a hotel that night. Cheap, dusty, loud, but I didn't care. Anything was better than that apartment. I didn't tell anyone why I left, not even the front desk. I just handed them my card, took the key, and locked myself in. I didn't unpack. I didn't shower. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the hotel closet, making sure it didn't move. It didn't knock, but I still heard it. At 3:33 a.m., even in a place miles away from my bedroom, I heard it, not in the walls, not outside, inside my head. I covered my ears and curled into a ball. I whispered to myself over and over, "You're not there. You're not real." But something deep inside me whispered back, "Then stop answering." I went back to the apartment the next morning. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. Luna was still there, and I couldn't leave her alone with it, whatever it was. When I opened the door, the place felt colder, the hallway darker. I called out for her, but there was no meow, no paws tapping on the floor, just silence. I found her hiding under the bathtub, eyes wide, body trembling. She didn't come out even for me, not this time. I gave her food and sat on the bathroom floor, listening, waiting. No knocking, not yet. That night, I did something stupid. I wrote on the wall. I don't know what made me do it. Maybe desperation, maybe exhaustion. I just wanted to talk to it, not to invite it, just to understand. I wanted to believe there were rules, that if I followed them, I'd be safe. So I wrote in black marker, "What do you want?" I waited. For hours, nothing. Then, just after 3 a.m., I heard the closet slide open. Slow, smooth, like someone being careful not to wake me. I didn't move. At 3:33, the knock came. So close, I swore it was just behind the wall I was leaning on. I kept my eyes shut. Then I heard something else. Chalk, scraping, writing. When the sun rose, I looked at the wall. Under my question, someone or something had written in the same thick black marker, "You knocked first." I didn't remember knocking, but that message, "You knocked first," it wouldn't leave me alone. I kept replaying the nights in my head, over and over. The first knock wasn't mine, was it? And then I remembered something. The first night, I'd gotten up to use the bathroom. Groggy, half asleep. I'd tripped in the dark and reached out, just to catch my balance. My knuckles had tapped the closet panel 3 times. I had knocked. My stomach twisted. My knees felt weak. Had that been an invitation? I stayed out of the bedroom the rest of the day. I locked the closet door with duct tape and furniture, even knowing it wouldn't stop anything. It wasn't about safety. It was about feeling like I still had control. But the feeling didn't last. That afternoon, I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror, and it blinked before I did. That night, I placed salt across the threshold of the closet. Not because I believed it would work, because I needed something, anything, to feel real again. I sat in the corner with my phone camera recording. Flashlight on, whispering into the mic like a prayer. It's not real. It's just the dark. It's just the dark. Then the flashlight flickered. Once, twice, off. Total darkness swallowed the room. And then I heard the sound I feared most, sliding wood. It was opening again, but this time, the knocking didn't come. Instead, I felt it watching. Not from behind the door, but from the room. Like it had stepped out and was just standing there. Not breathing, not moving, just staring. I didn't dare open my eyes. I didn't move. I waited for the light to return, for the night to end, for something to break the silence. And then, just before the flashlight flickered back on, I heard a voice, not in my ear, but in my mind. "We've been waiting a long time, Natalie." When I opened my eyes, the salt line was scattered, broken into the shape of a spiral. And the closet door? It was gone. I didn't sleep. How could I when the closet itself had vanished? Not just open, not just ajar, gone. The wall where it once stood was now smooth, painted over. No seams, no panel, no sign it had ever existed. But I knew it had. My camera knew it had. My cat knew it had. But when I checked the footage, static. Every file from the past 3 nights was corrupted, just digital ash. The camera lens cracked clean down the center, like it had shattered while sitting untouched, like something inside the lens had pushed back. The message on the wall was gone too. Nothing but blank space like it had never been written. No black marker, no smudges, just flat white. But I remembered. You knocked first. I tried to leave again. I packed a bag, scooped up Luna, and ran for the elevator. I didn't care about rent. I didn't care about anything except distance. But when the elevator doors opened, there was no hallway, just blackness. It wasn't a shadow. It wasn't a power outage. It was the same darkness I saw inside the closet, an endless void that bent the light and pulled at my chest like gravity. I didn't step forward. I backed away, slowly, carefully, and when the doors closed again, the hallway returned like nothing had happened. I dropped my bag and locked the door. I was trapped. That night I heard something new. Not knocks, scratching. It started in the walls, soft at first, like nails dragging gently through drywall. Then it grew louder, faster, like claws. I pressed my ear to the wall and heard it whispering between the scratches. Not words, names. Dozens of them, hundreds. Some I didn't recognize. Some I swear I knew, neighbors, classmates, people who'd vanished from my life without reason. And in between them, one name repeated over and over. Natalie, Natalie, Natalie. I screamed and punched the wall. Drywall crumbled under my fist. Behind it, I found something buried in the insulation. A photograph, old, sepia-toned, faded, of me, standing in front of a closet. But I was 6 years old, and I was already knocking. The photo haunted me. It shouldn't exist. Me, 6 years old, standing in front of a closet. That looked exactly like the one in my apartment. Same size, same panel, same hollow space behind it. In the photo, I wasn't smiling. I wasn't playing. I was knocking, 3 times. The edges of the photo were cracked, burned, as if someone or something had tried to destroy it. But the image remained stubborn and sharp. I sat on the floor for hours, staring at it, trying to remember. And then, I did. I was 6. My family lived in a different city then, a different life. I remembered a small room with yellow walls and peeling wallpaper. I remembered a closet that my parents always told me never to open. It's sealed for a reason, my mom would whisper. But one night I did, and something knocked back. After that night, we moved. I stopped sleeping alone. I stopped talking. I even forgot how to speak for a while. My parents said it was trauma. But now, sitting in the dark with that photo in my hand, I realized the closet had followed me. No, it had never left. I didn't run that night. I didn't hide. I lit candles. I pulled the furniture back. I erased the salt spiral. I sat in the middle of the room, photo in one hand, flashlight in the other, and waited. 3:33 a.m. The room grew cold. The lights dimmed, even the candles, flickering like they were choking on air. My breath formed clouds. Luna hissed once, then sprinted from the room. Then I heard the sound, not knocking, breathing. From the wall, it was long, slow, rasping, like someone exhaling through broken lungs. Then the panel, the one that no longer existed, reappeared before my eyes. It didn't slide. It just was, suddenly back in place. And it was opening. Darkness oozed out like ink spilling into water. Cold air rolled over my skin. I gripped the flashlight and pointed it forward. Nothing. Nothing. Then eyes, 2 pinpricks in the void. Not human, not animal, just watching. And then it spoke. You opened it once. You must open it again. I stood, hands shaking. I should have screamed. I should have fled. But instead, I knocked. The panel vanished. The black expanded, swallowing the room whole. And I stepped inside. The moment I stepped through, everything changed. There was no floor, no air, no sense of up or down. I didn't fall. I simply drifted, like sinking into a thought too heavy to escape. The darkness wasn't empty. It was alive. It pulsed. It breathed. It watched. I couldn't see my hands, couldn't feel my body, but I heard things. A child sobbing in the distance, a whisper that might have been my own voice, something scraping inches from my face. Then I saw it, just for a second, a door. Not the closet door, something older, taller, a cathedral-sized gate made of rotted wood and iron. Standing alone in the void, It swung open silently as I approached, as if it had been waiting. Just for me. Beyond it, a hallway, familiar. My apartment, but different. The light was dimmer. The walls were too tall, the shadows too long. My pictures were still on the walls, but the faces were missing, scratched out, blurred, watching me with empty eye sockets. The furniture was soaked in something dark, thick, still warm. I was home, but I wasn't. Luna stood in the corner, still, eyes wide, her fur soaked in shadow. She looked at me but didn't move, didn't blink. I reached for her, and that's when I saw her reflection. Not in the mirror, in the floor. It wasn't her. It was me, 6 years old, face pale, eyes wide, knocking slowly, rhythmically, over and over. Knock, knock, knock. I backed away. My younger self didn't. She smiled and whispered, "We were never supposed to leave." I ran down the warped hallway, through doors that should have led to the kitchen or bathroom, but now opened into impossible spaces. Forests under red skies, empty hospital wards humming with machines, an endless library where every book had my name on it. In one room, a dozen versions of myself sat crying. In another, my parents stood completely still, their mouths open, locked in mid-scream. I begged the void to end, and then I saw the closet again, just floating, door wide open. I dove through. I woke on the floor. My apartment looked normal. Morning sunlight was bleeding through the window. The closet was shut. The scratches were gone. The salt was gone. Luna was asleep on my chest, purring like nothing had happened. Maybe I dreamed it. Maybe I broke. But then I saw it, burned into the inside of my arm. A black spiral, still warm, still pulsing. The spiral on my arm never faded. It didn't hurt, not in the way you'd expect. It ached, a deep old ache, like something etched into bone. It pulsed under my skin in rhythm with something that didn't belong to this world. Not my heartbeat, something older. I tried to go on with life like nothing happened. I cleaned the apartment, reorganized, deleted my vlogs, hid the camera, blocked off the closet with furniture again. But the knock never came back. Instead, the silence did, an oppressive, choking kind of silence, like sound itself had been sucked out of the air. Luna grew restless. She wouldn't sleep near me anymore. She stopped purring, just stared at the wall across from the closet day and night, waiting. For what, I didn't know. Not yet. It started with the dreams. I dreamed of rooms inside rooms, endless doors with no walls, children knocking from behind glass. Every time I opened one, I saw someone I had forgotten, an ex, a teacher, a friend from childhood, and every time I asked where we were, they all said the same thing. Nowhere. It wasn't a place. It was a state. Nowhere was where you went when you knocked. And stayed too long. The final message came 3 days later. I found it scrawled into my bathroom mirror. Not written in steam, not carved in glass. It was inside the reflection. Just 3 words. "She is here." I turned around. Luna was gone. The apartment was silent again. I ran to the closet, tore down the dresser, ripped away the boards I'd nailed over it, and found it open. Not wide, just enough to show her paw print in the dust. She had gone in. I didn't hesitate this time. I stepped in after her. There was no transition, no darkness swallowing me whole, no loss of consciousness. It was like blinking. One moment I was in the hallway. The next I was nowhere. Everything was gray, muted skies, an endless neighborhood of warped houses and motionless trees. It looked like my childhood street, but stretched, decayed, wrong. People were walking slowly like shadows, flickering, and every single one of them had a spiral carved into their skin. They didn't speak. They didn't look up. Until I called out, "Luna?" They all turned at once, mouths wide open, empty, black, screaming. I ran. The spiral-marked figures screamed without sound. Their mouths stretched too wide, their eyes hollow, skin flickering like bad reception on a dying TV. Every step I took, the ground shifted beneath me, sidewalks peeling like skin, trees twisting into arms, streetlights blinking with no rhythm. The world bent inward like it wanted to collapse on top of me. But I ran, because somewhere in this place, this nowhere, Luna was waiting. I didn't call her name again. I knew better now. That's how it found you. That's how it pulled you deeper. I followed the paw prints in the gray dust, tiny, fragile, straight toward the only thing that looked real. My childhood home, exactly as I remembered it. Yellow paint, Sagging porch, the door slightly open, and behind it, the same closet. I stepped through the threshold and into the living room. No pictures on the walls, no furniture, no sound, just the open closet. Inside it, I saw Luna. She wasn't moving, but she was breathing. I reached out, heart in my throat. The moment my hand brushed her fur, slam, the closet door shut behind me. The darkness roared to life. Not sound, not wind, just pressure, like I was standing at the bottom of the ocean, with something pressing down on every inch of my body. Then, silence.